Nine of clubs, king of diamonds. If I take that nine of clubs and use it to hide the discrepancy of those fingers, when I'm turning it over, we can achieve this, which looks like a transposition. So I cover up the discrepancy before it even happens. My hand is here, I do the move. Look at the natural position of my hand. Hi, I'm Daniel Madison. Welcome to this very special workshop on what is arguably the world's greatest playing card transformation, color change, the snap change. In this video, I'm going to teach you everything that you need to know from the ground up so that you can master and improve the snap change. We're going to identify all of the natural discrepancies that come along with the mechanics of this move. And I'm going to offer you methods and solutions so that you can use those discrepancies in your favor to offer you a much better snap change. In fact, in most cases, it improves that much that it no longer looks like a snap change. I have so much to say, so much to talk about, and so much to offer with the snap change, but we're going to start from the ground up with the basic mechanics, and along the way I'll point out those discrepancies and help you master and improve your snap change. So we have two playing cards posing as one. We want to make this look like there's only one playing card. I'm holding these two playing cards, nine of clubs, behind a king of diamonds laterally, and I'm holding them at the bottom left index with finger 2 and the thumb, finger 1 just above it. Now notice how I'm just pinching the very end so that you can see the pip of the index, yet you can't see the K, you can't see the king. Finger 1 is kind of just resting there at the moment. So the grip at the minute, my thumb is on the back of both fingers. So it's pressing on the back of both fingers, and the playing cards are just in the way of that. Now my thumb is in a position where it's going to move up or down to shift the grip, between fingers 2 or finger 1 for when I need it the most. And the first thing that happens when I'm ready, I loosen finger 1 so slightly so that the grip shifts onto the thumb and finger 2, but I leave finger 1 there. It's playing a very important part at the moment. So I'm going to pull downwards towards the table with finger 2, and I'm going to push upwards with the thumb at the back. This causes the two cards to slide apart like this. The king goes down, the 9 goes up relatively, it actually stays where it is. So the king is going to come along with finger 2, come along for the ride as finger 2 just returns into a closed hand position. So we're going to go from here to here. So if you can click your fingers, we're pretty much just snapping our fingers with two playing cards in the way. Finger 2 pulls down, and you'll feel that king, that first card, start to pivot, start to spin downwards as the 9 pushes against it and the back. So now in this position, my thumb is pressing up now against finger 1. So the grip has shifted up to finger 1 as finger 2 moves independently downwards, and you'll see the king of diamonds here is about to pop away from finger 1, and this is part of what makes a snapping sound, this here. So, and when that happens, finger 2 is going to carry on into the hand and pull that card underneath the 9 back into the hand like this, where it stops in a natural resting position. Wherever it stops, that's where it's meant to be. You'll notice in my case that the top corner, the left corner of the King of Diamonds is pressed up against the clunge of the thumb right at the very back here. Now, because I'm holding the playing card straight forward like this, when that happens, when that card goes behind, the 9 of clubs is hiding that from head on. Best way to learn at this stage is to do it slowly over and over from this position, and you'll find that you don't have to think too much. Most of your attention's going in to finger 2, just clearing that card out of the way. And once you're used to it going slowly like this, and you've learned the grip, start to speed it up. So when I say speed it up, we're pulling more sharply with finger 2, we're pulling faster with finger 2, like this. Now the snap change looks beautiful, it looks wonderful, of course it does. There are so many discrepancies. We'll talk about the angle in a few moments, because that's going to be the first thing that bugs you if you're new to the snap change. Because if you're doing this for a camera, just a flat perspective from the front, it's easy, because as soon as that card's there, you can just stop here, right? That's where you stop. But look at this big card here, no matter where I turn, you're going to see it. The angle sensitivity is a nightmare. But we'll get to that in a moment. That's the biggest discrepancy, but in my mind, there's something worse happening, and it's finger 2 disappearing from the front of the card when the change happened. Now, I know that your audience, many audiences aren't going to notice this, but in my mind, I always create and perform in a way that I imagine I'm sat across the table from myself, so I'm very strict with myself. I don't let myself get away with anything. So if I was sat across from me and I saw this and I saw finger 2 disappearing from the front, I'd call it out, I'd question it. I'd know just from that exactly what's happened. Now, I have already helped you with this discrepancy ever so slightly by having your fingers as close to the edges of the card as you can. In most snap change tutorials and performances that I've seen, the fingers are so much further into the card like this. Whilst instinctively you might think that this will help you achieve a better snap change, or at least hide that card better behind, you're actually making things so much harder for yourself. And look how much finger goes missing from the snap change in that case. At least if we're holding them from the very edges, we almost have a complete full face without anything hidden. We can almost see the entirety of the card. And one of the reasons why I like using face cards for snap change is because of all the information there. Nobody's going to notice that I'm covering up the king here, the index here. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, finger 1 is here, finger 2 is here. After the snap change, that finger goes missing. So the snap obviously happened by that finger, and if the cards changed when that happened, obviously finger 2 moved that card out of the way, so it becomes too easy to figure out what happened. While it might look pretty and we'll even watch it in the mirror and go, wow, that's amazing, when we show it to people, when they see that finger, they know exactly what's happened. So how do we combat that discrepancy? Now, there's quite a few ways, but my favorite is the most obvious. Just cover up those fingers. I've seen a few lessons where you start with a card like this, held with one finger, and then when you go for the snap change, finger 2 comes in and then leaves again. To me, that it might work, you might think that works, but if I saw that, I can see that finger moving. Remember, we're looking for movement, we're looking for as much information as we can, whether we know it or not, whether the audience knows it or not, to try and figure out what's happened. And in Magic, especially with sleight of hand, playing card deception, you should make it a habit to never ever change grip if you can help it. So yes, this starts the same and then ends the same. We can hide it by that little shake by doing this so that nobody can see that finger. So if I go from here and then here, it looks exactly the same, but then I had to hide that finger coming in and out by shaking it, which it's not a big deal. That's not a problem. I don't mind that. But there are a few ideas that I think are a little bit better than that. And perhaps the most obvious, which sounds bonkers and sounds wrong up front, but just cover it up. Cover those fingers up with your other hand. Remember, this is one hand doing this move, so we have a free hand. So fingers 1 and 2, if I just put this hand in front, just enough to cover those fingers, not up here, just enough, and then do the snap change, then there's no, it looks like zero movement, obviously apart from that little flick that happened with the card. But just by offering a bit of shade from the free hand, we've managed to get rid of a discrepancy with minimum effort. And I know in most cases, most magicians will be holding the deck, so you can take the cards from the top of the deck, 2 cards remember, take them from the top of the deck and then bring them behind the deck slightly here so that your fingers just dip below the deck. Now we can perform it here. Now while I have the deck in my hand from this position, I can also clean up. Look where the deck is. The deck's right in front of everything, but from the side, I have the king of diamonds poking back, nine of clubs up here. Now, if I move the nine of clubs forward, in my case, I have a table, so I can put this down. If I move forward like this, I can put it down. Meanwhile, I've cleaned up by dropping the king of diamonds on top. So, from the side, I'm twisting my hand so that this lines up with the deck like this, and then I drop it as I put the 9 down, and the hand is clean, and we're left clean. Now, to offer a more creative way of hiding that discrepancy with the same handling, so the hidden fingers in a transposition. The transposition itself is going to distract from the fact that a color change even happened. More importantly, it's a means to hide those discrepant fingers. So we have a king of diamonds and a 9 of clubs. If I take the 9 of clubs here, and we have the king of diamonds here, so I'm going to use the 9 of clubs to cover that discrepancy, but what's actually happening is a transposition, so all attention is being drawn to the transposition. Meanwhile, I've managed to get rid of that extra king of diamonds by dumping it, by dropping it below the table, amidst all the moves. 9 of clubs, king of diamonds. If I take that 9 of clubs and use it to hide the discrepancy of those fingers, when I'm turning it over, we can achieve this, which looks like a transposition. Now, the transposition itself not only hid the discrepancy of those fingers, but it also hid the fact that a snap change even happened during that transposition. Meanwhile, there's a duplicate king of diamonds that I dropped off of the edge of the table amidst the trick. We just need a duplicate playing card, in my case a king of diamonds. Sandwich position, I've shown the 9 and the king. I wait a moment, I throw this card to the table, looks like the 9 of clubs. When I show these 2 playing cards, which is a 9 behind a king, because the audience, the participant, sees the king, I don't need to prove what this is, because if the king's here, then obviously this has to be the 9. So I'm going to address this card as if it is the 9, when meanwhile it's the king, it's the other king. If we have them in sandwich position, display the king and the 9 to start with, close them, put the top card to the table. It should already look like the 9, especially it will now when we put these 2 playing cards in position. Really, it's the king. Now I'm going to pick this card up. There's a few ways you can do it. I'm just hiding the discrepancy of those fingers, right? I'm just hiding these 2 fingers. So I can do the snap change now and then turn this over, because that buys me enough time to get rid of that card that's sticking out the back. So I can do the snap change like this, and now move back, and as I turn this over, drop that king. Or what I prefer is to do everything all at once, which is do the snap change as you're turning this over, because not only is the discrepancy hidden here already, but the eyes are going to follow this movement, because this is the card that's moving. Everybody's going to look at this. So while they're looking at this, we do the snap change and it looks instant. Then as soon as I've done it, look what position I'm in. I've got the king of diamonds, the extra king of diamonds back here, but look at this position. I've got all the shade that I need. So as long as I know I've got shade, I can just tap that king on the table, and as I do it, drop that other king off at the edge. The reason I'm tapping that king on the table is to close these windows. You see there's a window here, and then there's a window here where you could see that card falling. So the king's here, so I close those windows like this, and then show the back. I've dropped the card to the floor when nobody even saw it. Another way to distract from that discrepancy is just movement. If you just hold everything dead still like this, then it's quite obvious what's happened. But if you're moving, we're able to introduce natural motion blur that eyes can't properly keep up. Now, I'm not talking about doing this, right? That's too obvious. That's bad magic. I'm talking about slow movements that are justified by what you're doing with your surroundings, your tables. Maybe you've got somebody to hold a hand out. Because I've got a table here, I'm going to use it. So I put the box down in the middle of the table. I get my 2 cards. So I have an ace of hearts, mine a queen of clubs. I'm in this position. This hand is going to take this card out of this hand and put it here so it stood up like this, right? I'm going to do the snap change at the moment that I grab the card, so that it could potentially look like when the transformation happens, it could have had something to do with this hand. But because we're keeping that movement going, we're keeping the flow, it's hard to figure out. It's hard to kind of follow along with what could have happened. This hand's going to be moving backwards, so coming slowly towards me. This hand's going to go forward, take and put the card down. So I've got my playing cards balanced together as one on the box. I'm going to pick them up in position, so I'm going to go for the bottom left corner like this. I'm going to pick it up, slowly move it back towards myself, and then I'm going to go open hand nice and carefully like this. So it's going to be like a like a clip, a grab, and that's when I do the snap change. And then I put it down here in front of the box. Now this card, the box, and the motion of moving forward, it all offered shade so that I could get rid of that card on the floor. So if I start by placing those two cards on the box ready for me to collect, to pick up in position with my right hand, I'm going to pick them up together like this. Once I pick them up, I start to move them back towards my body. This hand's going to go forward and I'm going to clip the card like this, finger 2 and the thumb. And as I do it, execute a snap change, put the card back down, move my hands out of the way. The position of the card and the box offered enough shade for me to drop that card, the Queen of Clubs, to the floor. But the most help came from perspective, allowing this card to appear bigger than this card because it's closer to the eye, right? So obviously perspective, the Ace of Hearts now looks bigger than the Queen of Clubs. That gives me so much more room to hide any possible discrepancies. So as long as I know where the eye line is of my participant, or in this case, my camera, it's really easy to fool. This hand comes back, this hand goes forward, and I put it down like this. The moment I grip like this, I execute a snap change, so that it looks like those cards change the moment I gripped the card like this. Snap change, carry this on forward, carry this on back, and they go down at the same time like this. And as soon as I know that that's closed that window, I can drop this card, and this hand can slowly make its way backwards. Now, of course, you don't need the box for that. I just use the box so that I can stand the card up to offer myself more shade for when I'm getting rid of that card. But we can do it straight from the table like this, and then put that card back down, and meanwhile, it looks hellishly clean. And also, you don't have to, like I'm grabbing it from the top like this. I like this, I make this hand look big because it looks like this hand did the move, which really works in our favor afterwards, because if we do this, and now I do this very cleanly and carefully, put it down here, it looks like this is the hand that's up to no good. Meanwhile, no one's looking at this hand and everything's clean. You can come in from the side and you get the exact same thing. So it's more of a subtle way of doing it, but you achieve the same thing. So if I pick both of those cards up and now come in from the side, we get exactly the same thing. If we can let our audience, our participant, know that we are carefree, it doesn't matter which position we're stood in, it doesn't matter how we're holding the playing cards, if we can offer a lot of movement, we can use that movement in our favor. Now, it lets the participant and the audience know that we have less control than we actually do have. But more importantly, it allows us to have more shade and more control over what we're doing. So movement itself, if you can move this card around, it lets the audience know that there's only one playing card there, right? So if you start playing with the card like this, seeing how you can bend it without the cards coming apart, so it looks like one playing card. But if we mix this idea in with the moment itself, with the snap change itself, it also covers up the discrepancies and it looks even more impossible. So pull both playing cards back and let them bounce forward like this. So pull back like this and then let it bounce forward. On the third time, do a snap change. So 1, 2, snap change. The movement of your hand, the movement of the playing card itself took attention away from that discrepancy. Bear in mind, one of the discrepancies of the finger is still there, but the movement distracts from it. Now, how would you clean up in this situation? Let's move the deck into the hands for the same idea. Take 2 cards from the top, pull back with the finger, and then I put the queen down like this, so I'm pinching it with my thumb. In that moment, I was able to clean up with no discrepancies. Now I'll show you that from the side so you can see exactly what's going on. So pick him up from the top, and even scrape those cards over to finger 1, which naturally pull it back, and look at the position the card is in. Now it's hovering right above the deck, hidden by the Queen of Clubs in this case. Now we have to lower it down and let it connect with the top of the deck as we turn the queen face up slightly and pinch with the thumb. The biggest discrepancy that I've seen when people do this, pay attention to the thumb of my left hand. Right, so the thumb took the card to clean it up first, and then it came back for the queen. You have to resist. You have to stop yourself from cleaning up that card or helping cleaning up that card with the thumb. So off of the finger, snap change, and move back. At this point, it feels like you want to grab it with your thumb to clean up. But from the front, or from any angle for that matter, you can see it going down and coming back up for the queen. So if I do this, you have to just let go of it, keep your thumb sticking out, and then pull the queen back into your hand and pinch down with your thumb like this, and your left clean. Another common go-to of mine for the snap change to distract from that discrepancy is the squeeze. So if you take the 2 cards in snap change position, have the 3 of spades behind the jack of clubs, take finger 1 and the thumb from your free hand, and you're going to squeeze the edges like this. Now hold tight, and you can squeeze and let go, and they just pop out. Now if there were 2 playing cards there, surely they would have separated at that point. That's one of the subtle messages that we're given, but also by doing this, we're introducing that sound, right? So we're getting our audience used to this sound. So you can do this once or twice, and we're creating that sound of the snap. So when it comes to the snap change, it sounds like that's all that's happening. So one discrepancy is still there, which is the finger vanishing from the playing card, but we've distracted our audience by bringing the attention over to the other side, so they're watching whatever's moving, right? They're not looking at what's still. Their eyes are following the movement, so they're following the pinch of the thumb and finger 1, so no one's looking on this side. And now the sound makes sense. The sound of that snap is justified by the squeeze. Now I will use the squeeze snap change to show you one of the ways of cleaning up without a deck of playing cards in your hand, which is similar to the gambler's cop idea that I showed you earlier. But look at what position we're in after we've done the squeeze. So my free hand is here closed, right? My finger and thumb stay closed. If I now open my hand fully like this to accept this card, if I put the 3 of spades into the end of my hand like this, I know it might look like a bit of a strange way to hold it, but look what I did. I managed to free the hidden card, the jack of clubs, from this hand. Meanwhile, it's pinched in a very loose gambler's cop behind this 3 of spades. So if I do that with speed, see, now I'm holding the 3 of spades. It looks like I passed it from one hand to the other. Meanwhile, the playing card is copped here. I can hold it here for a beat and then take this, drop, and step back with the discrepancy. And then we can pretty much do the same thing with the deck in our hand. So you've got the deck of playing cards in your hand, we've got the 2 playing cards. Our hand is still in a position where we can squeeze. So I can hold this card like this. So 2 cards, of course, between fingers 1 and 2. I squeeze, and now I'm in position to, again, the playing card is hanging in there to the side. I move it over the deck as I put the 3 at the end of my fingertips, just like this, hiding the cleanup. Another creative way of hiding the discrepancy of those of that extra finger is by shifting the grip and shifting the responsibility. Fingers 1 and 2 on the thumb of the right hand, in my case, that is where the snap change takes place. So if we move everything apart from that into the other hand, into the left hand, then we can take attention away from this, and hide the discrepancy and make it look like it's not even a snap change. Still, a playing card transformation takes place. 4 of hearts behind a queen of hearts on the deck, ready to pick up. I'm making life easy for myself in this position. So I pick these cards up like this so that you're seeing the back. So I'm showing the audience the back first. Now I go like this to show you the face of it, right? So even though my hand is kind of still in the way, you can still see almost the entirety of the card. But from my side, what I can see is this corner, the corner that I need to get to for a snap change. So I pick the cards up like this, show it as 1, bring it here as 1. As I show it like this, my hand comes over and I grip it in snap change position, which you can't see. So I've intentionally hidden that in a way that looks kind of natural. So I picked up a card, shown the back, shown the front. The change happens, and now I can show you the back and the front again. And meanwhile, the queen is nowhere to be found because, you guessed it, I dumped her off the edge of the table. The position of my hand during all that of this hand and this hand offered shade for the moment and for the cleanup. So if we break that down, I'm picking up the cards like this. When I come over here, my hand is coming underneath. How do I show you this? My hand is coming underneath and it's grabbing the corner here. Now, bear in mind my fingers here are in the middle, so I've got enough purchase room on this bottom corner here to grab just the amount that I need, which is just the very tip, the very end. Now my thumb is just resting on the top of those 2 cards. I'm not squeezing, right? It's just resting. Now if you just hold the playing cards like this and just try snap change in this position, it works perfectly. This hand isn't in the way, it's just offering shade. Now look at the amount of shade from the front I have, especially when I go to show you the back of this card, because now both of my hands can do this and then this again, and now I can turn the card around. Meanwhile, I dumped this off the edge of the table and it didn't look like I was doing anything other than turning this card over. So once again, from here, the back of the card, the face, the snap change, show you the back. Meanwhile, I've dumped the queen off the edge. This is something that I've only ever done for camera because there are 4 playing cards hiding as 1. If we take the red aces and put a 9 of clubs in between the red aces, hold them together, now get a duplicate 9 of clubs and hold it in front. So our situation is this, and we hold them as 1 here in a snap position. If we do the snap change, we can make it look like the 9 of clubs, all of a sudden out of nowhere, 2 playing cards appeared either side of the 9 of clubs, the 2 red aces, the sandwich card. Let's say you lost the red aces into the deck, the 9 of clubs is here, and you say the red aces are going to jump out of the deck up to the 9 of clubs. Of course, if you're working at a table, you can easily get rid of that extra 9 of clubs. However, one thing that I love about this is because when you do the snap change, these cards spread naturally on their own. They're offering so much more shade, hiding that discrepancy around the back, so you can easily clean that up behind them, under them, and keep it in your hand. While we're on the subject of sandwich effects, we'll keep the red aces. If you put 2 playing cards posed as 1 inside of a sandwich, so we have red aces, apparently with just a queen of hearts in the middle. From this position, you can do a snap change in the middle of the sandwich and nothing appears to change other than this playing card. This does work both ways, but bear in mind, if the ace on front is towards the top and the ace on the back is towards the bottom, the snap change is going to be more difficult because this has to flick out of the way in order for the snap change to take place. But as you can see, I still managed it. So if you change that by having ace at the front downwards towards the table, the ace at the back more up to you. Now we can do that, and I'll do this slowly. Look, the snap change, the card just rolls out underneath without having to knock this card out of the way. So if I do that at speed like this, then not much moves apart from the queen. The aces remain relatively still, and again, I've managed to just keep this card pinched here while I hold everything. So thinking about utilizing movement, obviously you can flick the card. That's probably the most common snap change that you have ever seen. The flicking backwards for a change, the squeeze. I like the idea of tapping the playing card and the snap change happens while you tap. So you could just do it in your hand like this. Again, I'm in a position to do this so that I can palm this card. But if you're on a table, this works really well on a table. You can either tap downwards like this. The snapping noise could potentially sound like the card hitting the table. You could do it this way too. Now, the good thing about this, you can just drop that card once you've done the change. So the jack of clubs, I'm just going to drop it over the edge of the table after the snap change. And then I can just turn this over and show 1 playing card. And of course, it's exactly the same this way. So this, and then this. And on the second tap on the table, I dropped the 3 of spades. Or tap over the edge of the deck to a table. Let's say we're in this position. Now I can just drop that jack of clubs onto the deck like this, whilst tapping on the table. So easy. Now, I want to end by showing you something really special that's going to be happening in a different video that we're going to look at in a different video. You might have seen at the beginning in the demonstration, I did a corner torn and restored effect using a snap change, and I'm basically just going to expose and show you exactly what it is. So this is black art. I've stuck 2 cards together. One of them is actually torn, and this is the actual corner. So we have black art here. This has sticky tape on the back, and then I have a full complete 5 of spades behind it. So this is ready for a snap change. So if I hold that against my black t-shirt, so if I snap change, it looks like it's restored itself. Now, if I mix that in with a few different actions, and what I discovered, if I stick this to the black, which looks like it's just floating in the air at the minute, and now do a snap change, it looks like it's restored in an instant. Meanwhile, I have this clipped in the snap change cleanup position. Now, there's so much more to this than this. There are other methods, other ideas, other ways of doing this, but I'm going to save them for a different video. I just wanted to offer this as a demonstration of how far you can take things with creative thinking. Stay close to my channel. I have huge YouTube news on the way. I can't wait to share it with you. For now, I'm Daniel Madison, and that was the Snap Change Workshop. See you next time.